me that people don't buy from companies, people buy from other people.
Awesome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of It Is What It Is podcast. I'm your host, Cody Kelly. Look, I'm excited, very excited about this episode. We have an amazing sales professional, author, business professional, business leader who's going to share some of his experiences. We're going to sit back and enjoy the ride. But if you want to keep seeing amazing individuals like who we have on today, you know what you got to do? You got to do a couple things. Follow me on Instagram, CVMK33. Go to the business page of CVMK_global. And if you want to get that physique you're looking for, the best fitness health supplements on the market are at www.cvmkglobal.store, where it goes down. Subscribe to the YouTube page of CV_K. With that being said, Chris, how are you doing today?
That's a tough act to follow right there.
You're good. Hey,
I didn't know you were doing supplements and stuff. That's awesome.
Appreciate you, man. I got creative over the pandemic. Had to diversify, and this is where we ended up.
That's hilarious. That's great. I love it.
Cool, man. Well, like you have been in the sales industry for quite an extensive time, right?
Yeah, back when Lincoln was president, I got into it. And that's how long it feels like. And I've been selling since I was a kid. Back in, when I was in grade school, we went out and we sold, stuff for school or YMCA or, door-to-door candy sales, whatever. And back then, of course, there's no pressure at that point. It's just like, if you don't sell something, that's fine. But, it was just, you don't have any of that fear in your head, of rejection. You just go out and you beat door to door and talk to people and sell them candy or gift wrap or whatever it was, or trick or treating for UNICEF or all that kind of stuff. And when I was a kid, we actually won a trip to go see the Harlem Globetrotters one time with my YMCA basketball team. Sold the most candy, that's, I took that, and I was in college. I was doing magazine subscriptions and all kinds of stuff, and when I got out of college, nobody would hire me. So I went back into sales.
Why do you think, like you talked about, you said, when you started off, selling, the candy and whatnot, and you sold enough that you won a trip to see the Harlem Globetrotters, and there wasn't any fear attached to it. Now there's all this anxiety and fear.
Oh yeah, it's like the number one thing that stops people is just fear of rejection. And because the more no's you get, you just feel like you're spinning your wheels. And as an adult, you're like, hey man, I got bills to pay. I can't, it's like when you're a little kid, it's like, if I got no's, that's fine. I'm still got a bed to sleep in and a roof over my head. But when you're doing it for a living and you're all commission, full commission, you don't have a salary or a draw or something, that's tough. A friend that got into his own business years ago, he had worked retail for years, and he was like, yeah, I don't take a lunch until I sell something. Wow. Because he goes, I just, if I don't sell, I don't eat. And that was his philosophy. And now he's like a really good, he's been very successful over the years. So, that's what it is.
That's an interesting concept. So and you're absolutely right. I think it's, as an adult, because we have responsibility and we know if we don't hit these targets, how are we going to provide? So that creates all this, I hate to say toxicity in a sense, right? Like now this negative emotion, because I have to perform regardless of the truth. And that's kind of what we're here to unpack. Is that, because there are some individuals who can block it out, who can say, whatever to my feelings, I'm going to just eat, sleep, and crap this all day. And then there's other people, and it's not a right or wrong thing. It's not one is stronger than the other, but it'd be like, hey, look, no, I am a person. I can't eat, sleep, and crap this all day. These nose hurt, And,
oh well, I in my book I tell a story about how when I was single, we would go to local bars around college and stuff, and try to talk to girls. And one of the things we would do, we had these horrible opening lines. We knew we were horrible opening lines, and it was kind of a goof for us. So we would, just say stupid stuff to girls. And the one that kind of worked sometimes, we would say, I thrive on rejection. Well, can I buy you a beer? And that way you make it a win-win. If they said no, you're like, score, so so that's kind of the way you have to be when you're in sales. It's like, yeah, I'll take a no. That's fine. There's going to be a yes eventually. And, a lot of people say it's a numbers game or whatever, but the more if you're confident in what you're selling and you're confident that you're going to see enough people and you're going to get enough contacts and keep that pipeline full, there's always going to be somebody coming through that will say yes. But it takes a lot of no's to get to that yes sometimes, and it's just a matter of how thin-skinned you are, and and how confident you are. I mean, I know people that first no, I'm done, I'm out of here. They just don't want to do it, so it takes a little bit of toughness. It takes, like I said, you got to thrive on rejection sometimes.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's just Teflon, I guess. You put it on your emotions.
I want to get to the book, but I want to hit this first before we get to the book, because I'm sure the book is going to open it up. Is it, and I do believe there's a responsibility that the sales professional has. Everybody can't be in sales. First of all, I always say anybody that truly stays in sales is crazy. So like, I'm crazy. I work in sales, so I know, and I own it. I own my craziness, right? But I own it, right? Everybody's not built for that. Everybody's not built for that. No. And then you get an email that says, "Really?" And then your whole year changes. But here's what I've said, or here's what I've seen, I should say. What tears up the trajectory, if you have a decent individual, a hard worker, is not in their pitch, it's not in their cadence, it's not in their technique, it's in the culture. And what I mean, the company culture of trying to weed out a process that they do not fully understand. So talk to me about that, because I know you've seen some things, and I feel like if you say it, it's safer than if I say it.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. I worked for a very, very large insurance company about 10, 12 years ago, and they were big and one of the most financially strong companies. And every time we had a meeting, it was a big rah-rah session, how awesome we were and how great the company was. And we were supposed to communicate this with the people all the time, and people did. But I had a come to Jesus moment one day. I was talking to a lady, and I'd gone into her house, and we were talking. She was an older lady, and she bought some life insurance from a company that wasn't as strong as us. They were just a smaller company. And of course, when you come across something like that, you don't want to, be mean to them or anything, but you just kind of ask politely, like, well, what made you buy from that company? And she said, well, the lady that sold it to me was very nice, and she took her time with me, and she answered all my questions, and she didn't pressure me, and she let me talk to my kids, and blah, 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 blah. And it hit me that people don't buy from companies, people buy from other people. Mm-hmm. And she was willing to buy what I thought was an inferior product, not horrible, but just because the person was selling that sold it was a better. She wasn't selling the company; she was selling herself.
Right.
And that's when you go, and all that company culture stuff, it goes out the window at that point. It's all about what you have, what the way you present yourself. Are you going to be that high pressure salesperson? Or are you going to be that guy that's, you know, taking your time and just letting that person process stuff? You know, that's the way they got to do it. Everybody is different. You can't go in and use canned speeches and you know, and I mean you can when you're starting out, that's great, but eventually you got to figure out how to make it just a track to run on, and you can use your own verbiage and figure out how to say things your own way
Right.
without, you know, sounding like you're a robot or
Right.
something like
Reading off the script, like, so
yeah.
it's like, who are you?
Oh, I've been there. I mean, those those are the ones that are like they don't even want you to come off the script, and it's like, what are you doing? You know, you sound horrible, and you know, I mean, and I'll see guys I worked with 30 years ago. I'll run into them on Facebook or something, and we still make fun of those canned scripts. You know, like, oh, for 57 cents a day, you know, that's the cost of a cup of coffee, and you know, and it's just so
Mhm.
cheesy and hokey and if but you know you have to be able to just have a conversation with somebody, and so all that whatever they're telling you to say, um, it doesn't always work. You have to just put it in your own words, you know, and in my business you have to kind of keep it compliant, but
Right.
you know,
Right.
because it is a heavily regulated industry, but it's just that kind of work. I mean, it's not, you know, I'm not worried about at this point. I don't even have a boss. I quit all that stuff and I just went totally independent about 10 years ago because
Mhm.
you just get tired of having that little, you know, sales
Mhm.
manager on your shoulder looking over your shoulder telling you why didn't you close that person? Why do you know, maybe that person wasn't ready to be closed yet. Uh, you know, so I'd rather fail, you know, fail because I failed rather than have somebody, you know, because I somebody
No,
else was
you're
telling me to say something that I didn't want to say or
yeah. You're absolutely right, and you have really to me opened up the truth, and this is what I want to get into because a lot of times you're placed in these situations that are not backed by anything. Like I get it. Look, let's just be honest. Businesses cannot exist without money. Profit is needed to continue. They have to pay you, they have to pay the salaries of the workers, they have to pay the CEO, they have to do all that. So money is needed. I told you, nobody's against that. Nobody's not a capitalist. What we're trying to say is that there is the obvious truth that money is needed, and then there is the gimmicks of trying to get to the money
well,
that destroys
well yeah, yeah,
that destroys it. It's like, look, this person's not ready. I'm sorry. They're going on vacation. I can't get them not to come, to
yeah.
shorten their vacation up.
I used to work with a guy, and he would always go, "Your income is in their wallet. You have to do everything you can to get it out of there." And I'm like, these people are like 80 years old. I'm not, I'm not going to go there and beat them up and, you know, have them all upset with me and everything. I mean, you know, you just go in and you talk to them and try to, you know, reason with them. And like I said, I don't do high pressure. I do what we call good pressure. You know, if I'm talking to somebody about life insurance and I don't think that they're buying enough, I'm like, man, you got a wife and two kids, $50,000 isn't going to do enough. You know,
Right.
let's bump this up. You need more. Um, so you know, there's good pressure. It doesn't have to be high pressure. It doesn't have to be, you know, low ball. You know,
Right.
that kind of used car salesman stereotype kind of sales. Nothing against used car salesmen, but
Yeah.
you know, sometimes
That makes sense.
things happen.
That's true. That's true. Well, Chris, you wrote this book. An interesting title cover. Tell us, because you have these experiences and you put it into this writing that I'm sure has a lot of satire and just but real stories that are honestly things that happen every day. you
Yeah,
know?
it's just it's brutal. Um, yeah. So I wrote the book, and it's called "You're Going to Be Great at This," and I got that title because every job interview I've ever been on where it was a full commission job. They would tell you, they're just looking for people. Their whole philosophy is let's hire everybody and anybody, throw them at the wall, see who sticks. If and there's so much turnover in the industry. So when they're in that interview process, they always go like, oh man, we have the best products and we have the best this and we're so great of a company and this and that. And then they get to you and they tell you how you have the best personality and eventually they go, and you're going to be great at this. And it got to the point where every job interview I ever went on, they were always telling me how great I was going to be at something, and then inevitably I failed or moved on to another company. So, and the book was just originally a bucket list item, kind of like just something to do. I wanted to get some stuff off my chest and make fun of sales managers and have a good time. So I just there's sales tips. There's things in there about you're not selling a product, you're selling yourself, and how to network properly if you go to a networking event, and how to do it efficiently, and how to even get on LinkedIn or something like that. But it's peppered with what we call dumb stories. So there's just these stories about things that happened, and I cleaned up most of the language. It's not a Zig Ziglar by any stretch. Right. It's it's PG-13 in some places, and but that's the way it is. I mean, there's times when I would, me and a business owner would be just screaming at each other, and things like that happen. It's not going to always be like, well, yes, sir, the customer's always right. Like, nah, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, anybody who's ever been in this knows there will be one or two that you'd be like, okay, now.
There's a lot more than one or two. There's dozens, so it's just crazy. I mean, the things, that's what I did. I put it all in the book. It's a real quick, easy read. You can get it on Amazon. It's, I just talked to a friend of mine this morning. He was like, yeah, I remember reading that book. It took me, it's not a tough read, but it's hopefully it's a good, enjoyable read for people. And from that, I was planning on doing some speaking engagements, and I did a couple of little sales seminars, and then the next thing COVID came. So that let me put my glasses on. Now I look smart.
What? I got a couple questions, and you can answer back to back. I'm sure that in this journey there were painful points. We always talk about find the pain point of a customer, but sales professionals have pain points as well, right? There's moments of lapse. There's moments of, I can't believe that didn't close. My presentation was flawed. Like things that you just kind of replay in your head, and it's like, right. What happened here? How did you get through it and stick with it? Because, like you said, the turnover is ridiculous.
It's still a struggle. I mean, you never really get through it completely. I mean, you get to the point where you can handle it a little better, but it's always tough. And when you're working with, like I said, like you said, you're working with some company and they're just trying to push their culture down your throat, and and you're watching your coworkers drop like flies. It's just in the insurance business, for instance, in life and health sales, there's about 90% dropout after 3 years. So if you hire 100, you hire 100 people, you might have 10 of them in 3 years that are still there. And some of the other, some of these companies, they actually boast, oh, well, we have, 17%. I'm like, they still have 83% dropout. That's not a good thing. Right. And so they're.
What's up? I'm super pumped. Just got done with another workout. It's your boy, CVMK33, connected on Instagram and on the business page of CVMK_global. You know how I get through it. You know how I get that pump look. Best pre-workout on the market, www.cvmkglobal.store.
Constantly digging in mud as we say, just you're, just trying to find people and stuff. And that's one reason why I just had to get out of that culture and just go off on my own and be independent. I just got tired of, you know, hey, this is my new best friend, the coworker that I probably won't see in 6 months again. And so,
no, I heard you saying. I heard you saying. What do you think? What do you think is the remedy? Because I see. One of my questions was the future of sales. I really think sales is heading down I won't say a dangerous path, but a definitely is going to be a nuance. First of all, it's getting harder to connect with people. Obviously, we had the pandemic, but also because technology, so everything now has to be digital. Zoom, what are WebEx. But the cool or the good bad is that now I don't have to necessarily fly out to meet you. I save the company time and money, save myself time and money. The bad is that I really can't build a true relationship over a screen. A. B. I can't really read the room because I can only see you from the neck up. I can't see your body. I can't see your hands fidget when I say certain things. There's really no way to be human other than this digital application. So we talk about that 90% turnover. What's going to happen?
That's a great question because my whole thing is the reason that you have so much turnover is because there again, it goes back to that very first recruiting manager that hired you, promising you the moon and the stars, telling you how awesome this job is going to be, how the income is limitless and all this, without telling you the other part, that you're going to be in the car by yourself for hours. You're going to be going to people's houses that don't want somebody coming to see them. You're going to be cold calling. You're going to be getting no's all day. They don't tell you that part. And I think if they were just a little bit more, and when I say a little bit, I mean a lot more honest and upfront in that hiring process and giving you realistic expectations, first of all, they'd be weeding out a lot of prospective employees. And instead of having 100 people come through the door, they may only have 50, but those 50 will probably have a better idea of what is ahead of them at that point. So I think that's the first thing. You just gotta, I've interviewed agents that work with me sometimes, and I've gotten to the point where I don't even want anybody unless they've worked for 2 years in the business. It's completely green. I'm not going to tell them, oh man, you're going to make all this money. And if I interviewed with some company years ago and they only showed me the leaderboard. And I was like, where are the guys? Where's the average? Where's the median? Where's those guys? And they wouldn't, they probably weren't there. And there was no veterans in the office. That was the other thing. I was like, where are the guys that have been around for 20 years? That they didn't have any of those either.
Not there.
So that's that's the if you can fix it on the front end, I think that's but when you go to work for some of these companies and they're constantly either not telling you the truth at the beginning, or they just keep moving the goalpost back. And I've had that happen lots of times too. Hey, you promised me I was going to be able to do this. Well, you go sell 10 more policies and then we'll talk about it. That's not what you told me when you hired me, So I've seen that. That's typically the root of a lot of that, and people just don't. There's nobody there to tell them this is what's really going to happen. So it's tough. It's tough, and the expectations aren't met because they're not getting what they thought when they got hired on. So. It's brutal in that sense, and it's rampant. I mean, I'd hate to be a guy, a door-to-door vacuum cleaner salesman or something like that. I'm sure those guys have like 98% turnover or something. Who knows what that number is, but it's got to be horrible. And I've followed those guys. I mean, I've gone into a house after a door-to-door vacuum cleaner salesman and got run out of almost got killed in the process. So that's a story in my book, by the way. So
That sounds like an interesting read.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, nobody told me when I got into the business that, somebody might want to pull a gun on me or something.
Mm.
So, it is what it is, but you just have to be honest with people when you're telling them, hey, you're gonna come work with us. I tell them, I go, look, it's not easy, but that's why I've just got to the point where I don't want a rookie. I don't have time. The rookie thing is go train with somebody else, and then come work with me, and I'll just help you out. But I'm not going to hold your hand at that point. I don't, it's too much. So, and like you're saying nowadays, everything's over the internet, and if I have an agent, I'm in South Carolina. If I have an agent in Tennessee working with me, I can't go help him close an appointment. I can't, show him how to network properly. I can talk to him, but that's about it. So, and with my own business, when with COVID hit, but before COVID hit, I was actually making those adjustments ahead of time. And so I've got, my website is up and running, and, I'm only licensed in 6 or 7 states, but, I just market the website constantly, and Instagram, and, things like that. And nobody looks at Twitter. I have yet to have a client ever come to Twitter, but, but LinkedIn and all that, just Facebook page. I mean, if you can get somebody, I've got a YouTube channel now that's just, it's sad more than anything, because I really don't, I'm still learning it, and everything's just constantly changing. So, one day I got on Facebook, I mean, not Facebook, YouTube. I made a little short video of my cat in a hammock. My cat loves laying in the hammock. And I just said something really silly, like, hey, don't you want, life insurance will give you the peace of mind that this cat has laying in the hammock. And sure enough, about a week later, some lady, I don't know where she got it, but she said, yeah, I saw that video on YouTube, and I need some life insurance. And I never thought in a million years that cat in the hammock was the trick, so. So now with social media, and that's just a totally different ball game, for us old timers who've been selling since, professionally since the 80s.
It's different. It's different for me. I've even seen, like selling just evolve in the last 5 years. Now it's really social media driven, to the point. It's like, you just need a strong marketing team, because we have, I would say, the hunter role. I don't even know if that can be, you can even use that word anymore. I would say, like, we have become wide receivers, and the quarterback has to throw us the ball, and then the good ones can catch. But for the most part, hunters, like defensive backs now.
Well, and and the bad thing is, like with me, I'm the quarterback and the wide receiver and the running back and the coach. Yeah, I'm I do it all. So if you and not trying to toot my own horn, but I actually went and learned how to do Canva, use Canva so I can make things for my Instagram feed, and and which is hilarious. People look at my Instagram feed and they're like, are you really trying to sell insurance? Because I'll just put crazy stuff on there. So yeah, if you're ever bored and you want a good laugh, go to the Surf Financial Brokers Instagram feed, and there's always something dumb or semi-tasteless on there, whatever.
Sometimes you need these little things like that just to get you their day. Chris, you have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Where can the people connect with you, man? If they want to buy a policy, if they want to follow you on Instagram, where can they follow you and connect with you?
Well, I've got my website for my insurance business is surffinancialbrokers.com, and or they can find me at Surf Financial Brokers on Instagram. YouTube channel, which, like I said, is on there. And then we also have my speaking business, which is with the book, and that's at chriscastanes.com, which is Castanes. And if you're interested in any kind of, if you need me to come and talk to your group or whatever, I'd be happy to. I'm not a good Zoom speaker per se, but I do enjoy talking to realtors and little sales groups and telling bad jokes and things like that.
It works.
Yeah. So, that's the easiest way to find me is either surffinancialbrokers.com or chriscastanes.com.
Y'all connect with Chris. Go to chriscastanes.com. Connect with him. Hit him up. Like the cat videos. Buy, man. It what people don't realize, I always say support gets supported. And, if you're like me, I believe in, you reap what you sow. People who are out there really working hard and really trying to make a difference and an impact, show support. He's local. He's a local business owner. He is a hard work. He's been in this. He's not trying to hit you with a bunch of gimmicks and things that will not, help you. Because look, if you've been in sales, as long as, we've been in sales, you've seen some things. And if you survive this long, it's because you are a good person. That's I think God know it's true.
Or you don't have enough sense to know when to stop,
Right. Or the latter. You don't have enough sense to know where to stop. Guys, connect with me on Instagram, CVMK33, CVMK_global. Go to the website, www.cvmkglobal.store, and always subscribe to the YouTube page at CV Space K. Until next time, guys. Thanks.